Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray here in Memphis, Tennessee. We roll into our 17th year on the air every Saturday morning on ESPN 790. And this being the second Saturday of the month, that means it's first Wong. You know, there's two Wongs that make a right. But Ron Wong is sitting in with us. And good morning, Ron.
Good morning, everybody. It is a cold day in Memphis,
It
Tennessee,
is a cold day.
And in the Mid-South. Hey, I want to just give a shout-out again. Any of my hunting buddies, go out there down to Arca-Butler Lake and help them out with a disabled deer hunt that Ernie Lentz has got going on. You'll eat well. There's a nice campfire, big campfire that'll make you feel good, and you'll feel good about helping out.
You will. And Bill Cooksey from Vanishing Paradise, which I love the name of that, is also in with us. And, Bill, I know that this is waterfowl time for you.
It is, and I'm just waiting on my phone to blow up with texts here in the next 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, you should be elsewhere. But let's talk fishing.
Sounds
Ron
good.
likes to talk fishing, and
Always do.
yeah, and who better to talk fishing with than the new president of the International Game Fish Association, Nehl Horton. Good morning, Nehl.
Good morning. How are y'all doing today?
We are doing great. And, Nehl, I know you followed a man that had been there for 15 years and been on our show before and everything. Tell our listeners a little bit about the International Game Fish Association and maybe why you would want to be – this is a pretty demanding job. I know he has to live in Florida, but that's okay. But tell us a little bit about the IGFA.
Well, we're a conservation-based recreational angling organization. We were founded back in 1939 at the American Museum of Natural History.
Wow.
By a guy named Michael Lerner, who was part of the Lerner Department store family, and the chief ichthyologist or chief fish scientist at the museum at the time. And we're a nonprofit organization. We're committed to the conservation of game fish, and we do that by promoting responsible and ethical angling practices, pursuing science, education, rulemaking, record keeping, and angler recognition.
You do that.
And one of the things that we're most known for, obviously, is the fact that we keep all the saltwater and freshwater world records.
Amazing.
And that's an important part of what we do.
Yes.
But in addition, we do, we have a significant focus on conservation and science. We want to have a virtual circle and positive relationship between anglers and game fish and conservation.
Well,
if we miss on any of those three things, we're looking at a future where you won't be able to get out and go recreational angling. So it's about preserving the ethics and values of the sport and showing respect for the resource and the fish and conserving it all so that we have this opportunity for the future.
Well, I know we're talking to Nehl Horton. He is the new president of the International Game Fish Association. And Nehl, first we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up for you because I really like this IGFA fishing contact you got going on. But records, you mentioned it. How many records do you guys keep up with?
There's over 900 species on the record book at this point in time. We did some culling back on species last year, but it's north of 900 species.
And I mean, you don't just sit there and look at these all the time. I mean, you got other jobs to do. But I don't know who the record keeping person is, but I just picture this guy with sitting in a room with folders all around him and everything, with the bluegill and all these things going. Because you guys, really, you're the standard bearer for world records.
Yep, and actually, the records room looks a lot like you described. We have a big set of files with all the current and pending records in them. We have our line testing machine. We have a $35,000 line testing machine. that we use
Wow.
to test the sample lines from record submissions. And
Yes.
Jack and Bob take care of that. And,
Jack and Bob. Oh, Jack and Bob
Jack
are
and
back
Bob.
there. Okay, everybody needs a Jack and a Bob in there to take care of all the records. But you're looking at me, Cooksey. I mean, that's.
Well,
it looked like my old doctor's office.
You
I
talk about
envisioned.
all these fish species. A few years ago, I had a friend who got a record from him on gizzard shad. And when you start thinking
Right.
of that around the world,
Oh my goodness!
we're getting that deep in North America. Well, they're doing the same thing in South Africa and
Europe, everywhere.
Asia.
Mike.
So,
yeah. Well, it's just. I know you're known for that, but Nehl, you guys want to make the step forward, and as the new president, what do you see for the organization, for the IGFA?
Well, as I said, it's got a deep and rich history and legacy, and we've got a lot of accomplishment in the areas of conservation and record keeping, et cetera. I guess I look at it. I come in here from a business background.
Right.
I worked for the Coca-Cola Company. I worked for Miller Brewing Company, and also worked on the merger with Coors to form Miller Coors.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for the big food distributor Cisco, among other things. And I came in with a kind of more of a perspective of how we get the organization running in a bit more of a business-like manner.
Right.
And I think that there's an opportunity for some modernization of our approach in terms of how we market ourselves to anglers, what our relationship is with our international reps, which we have representatives in over 100 countries. And really, I think there's an opportunity to become more relevant to the average recreational angler, the person that's not necessarily looking for world records, but loves the sport and loves
Yes.
and wants to do it in an ethical way. I think there's an opportunity to really increase, I say, put the eye in the International Game Fish Association to really leverage the fact that we are the only international recreational angling organization of this type, and look at how do we show up around the world. We need to create some new revenue streams. We've got a significant budget, but the more money we can raise, the more kids we can educate, the more kids we can take fishing, the more science that we can support through our academic partners. And that's really the end goal is to do these other things so that we have the resources to do meaningful conservation work. So one of the things that we do in the science area is the the IGFA Great Marlin Race. This is the world's largest satellite tagging operation for marlin. And it's giving us incredible information about the migratory patterns of these incredible fish. So that's a good example of something we're doing in saltwater. Frankly, we need to do more in freshwater. We inherited or received the field and stream freshwater records and responsibility for keeping them in about 1978. And we've done that, but we've tended to be a little bit more saltwater focused. Maybe that's our Florida location. Maybe that's our background, focusing on marlin and tuna. But as you guys know, I mean, you live in Tennessee, the majority of recreational fishermen in the United States and frankly around the world are actually fishing in fresh water.
That's right.
There's just so much more access.
Yeah.
You don't need, you don't necessarily need a boat. You don't, the cost of entry to go fish on a stream or go fish in a pond versus to fish 50 miles offshore in blue water. It's just a big economic difference. So I think we have to be, I think we have to maybe overemphasize our focus on freshwater for a period of time to get people to realize that we're all about that as well.
Well, I know that, again, we're talking to Nehl Horton, the new president of the International Game Fish Association, and I know that from a fact from here that we're freshwater folks. We could get down to the Gulf pretty quickly, and we've all experienced that, but we're freshwater folks up here, and you're exactly right. I have to admit, when I think of the IGFA, I think of saltwater. So, but I'm seeing that you want to make some moves toward freshwater, which opens new doors for you, not only for anglers, but maybe from benefactors and things along that
exactly.
line. And
exactly.
And I know now you've got a fishing contest going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So one of our things we had done traditionally here and historically is we were involved in a lot of tournaments, both inshore and offshore. We kind of moved away from that. We're looking at getting back into it, and we ran an annual fishing contest. So we've re-energized that program and relaunched it as of October 1st of this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a year-long global fishing contest.
Global.
We have 74 species of fish that are eligible, and we have 3 categories: conventional, fly, and junior angler. And so for each of those 74 species, we're looking for the heaviest fish caught on conventional tackle, the heaviest fish caught on fly tackle, and the heaviest fish caught by a junior angler. And if you win one of those species categories, then your name goes into a drawing to win one of 3 fishing trips of a lifetime. You could go to Zancudo Lodge in Costa Rica. You could go to Tropistar in Panama, or you could go to now I'm slipping my mind.
Sardis Lake in Mississippi. I know that's
right.
A lot of our guys would go for those.
No, it's actually a destination in Canada. For a freshwater fishing opportunity, mainly focused on.
Well, I think you're reaching out. I think I see the vision here, and we got a couple of minutes here. That your background is in business, but I'm assuming you'd like to fish. So
look, I my father once said I'd fish in a mud puddle. I've been fishing my whole life. I had the typical. I grew up in Atlanta. I had a typical Southern experience of fishing in South Georgia on ponds with my grandfather.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to get to go to the Bahamas a good bit when I was growing up, and I fished down there. I caught my first sailfish in the Florida Keys when I was 13, and I've been hooked ever since. And so while I was traveling around the world working for Coke or Miller, I found time whenever I could to wet a line. And as a result, I've fished in 25 countries. I've fished in over 25 states. I've caught over 60 species of fish wearing one incredibly dilapidated Rapala hat that my sister gave me back in the early 90s.
Now we're getting personal here.
Yeah. So,
but
so I like freshwater fishing. I've caught some really nice trout in places like Argentina. I've also caught them up in North Georgia on the Toccoa River, or the Chattahoochee running through Atlanta. So I'm a true recreational angler. I've never owned a boat. When I've traveled, I tend to charter fish with captains and mates who really know what they're doing. So I was blessed to have
you're my kind of man.
Their guidance.
You're my kind of man.
It's been a passion for me.
Well, Nehl, we appreciate it. We never got Rick. We're going to try to get Rick on again. We'll keep trying. No telling where Rick's doing today. He may be in taking a day off and just being quiet. In some corner.
Something leads me to suspect he might be out bass fishing.
I think it might be. Nehl, thank you, buddy. We appreciate you being on the show, and hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll talk again in 2018 sometime, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Let's take a break. No Rick Clun, but that's all right. That was pretty interesting.
It was.
Very interesting. Let's take a break and come back and talk history on Reelfoot Lake on ESPN 790.
You can find out